Have you ever wondered what landlords see when they do a background check on you?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hey, I'm Alex,
And I'm Philip.
and we teach you what you need to know about being a grown-up.
Because adulting shouldn't suck. And the comments below, let us know if you've ever heard of a rental history report.
In this video, we're going to talk about what kind of information is on a rental history report.
If you've rented in the past and you're curious to know what your rental history is, it's important to check and know what your new potential landlord might see when they look you up.
So you might be asking yourself, what is a rental history report? Well, a rental history report is pretty much exactly what it says. It's the history of your previous renting history. If you don't have any previous rental history because you've never rented a place before or it wasn't in your name, then you won't have a report until you do actually rent something that's in your name.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you had lived with a bunch of roommates and you didn't end on the best terms. And you're not sure how the landlord rated you, or maybe you moved out before you were prepared and you had to move back in with your parents. Or your parents used your name to rent a place when you were a kid and it's on your rental history.
It's a real thing.
This isn't super uncommon, and it happened to me.
A rental history report will have information on there from your credit history report, background checks, criminal history, and other things from like your previous rental addresses, contact information for the previous landlords or the property managers, dates you've lived at those addresses, rent amounts, payment history, and damages if you damaged the place, or any previous evictions if you've had any. So you have your credit, debts, and lastly, any recommendations from your previous landlords on if you've been a good or a bad tenant based on their experience with you.
It's important to note that rental history reports are not credit history reports. Even though landlords and property managers will likely look at both of them when they're reviewing you as a candidate to live at their residence, there is a difference between these two reports.
For example, a good rental history report shows the tenant has paid rent on time for like 3 to 5 years. They're financially stable with good credit. They don't have a history of damaging the property, and they've got good references from previous landlords. While a bad rental history is going to show stuff like late payments, damages to the property, outside or inside, right? Outside of the normal wear and tear of what you would normally have by living there. Bad credit, no stable employment, complaints for your neighbors, and possibly evictions.
If you've been the best renter ever and you've never had any complaints against you and you've always paid your rent on time,
High five.
it's important to check your rental history report every so often just to make sure it's accurate and up to date. Unfortunately, people do make mistakes, and sometimes you can get information on your report that isn't correct.
All right, so how do you get a copy of your rental history report? The Fair Credit Reporting Act entitles consumers to a free copy of a lot of different reports, including credit history reports and rental history reports. However, there are a lot of places that generate these types of reports, and your landlord might use a specific one. So it's just best to ask your landlord, hey, which site did you use? And then you can find a list of sites that generate reports. You can also find a list that generate reports at privacyrights.org.
Once you get your report, you're going to want to check it for accurate information. Are your addresses correct? Are your landlord's name and information correct? Does it reflect the correct payment history? This information is important because this is one of the main sections that your new landlord is going to look at.
So if you do find an error, there's typically a place online that you can dispute the information that's listed from the company. And sometimes you're going to have to write something and mail it in. But this is really, it's really important to do because inaccurate information can result in you not getting approved for whatever place it is that you're wanting.
If all of the information is correct, but it's negative, it doesn't mean that you're out of luck. For example, this happened to me. Let's say you moved out and there was damage left over that your security deposit didn't cover.
Oops.
So the landlord leaves you an unfavorable recommendation. You can contact that previous landlord and see if you can work out a repayment plan and have the landlord revise that review that they had left for you.
All right, so if all the information is correct and accurate on the report, it's time to look it over like you were a landlord or a new employer. So did you have a big break in between your renting and why? Just like a job. you have to explain this to your new potential landlord and be upfront, and it's going to help you out. So if you move back home to save money or to help the family, explain this to them and explain why you had a big break in your rental history, and it's going to help them feel more at ease with renting to you, just like with jobs, right? If you had a big break in your employment history, your employer is going to want to know why. And it's the exact same thing with a landlord.
Just like checking your credit report regularly to ensure that it's accurate, you want to do the same thing with your rental history report, especially if you're looking to rent a new place in the near future. Also, if you didn't know, you can build your credit by paying rent. Check out our video on it to find out how. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. In the comments below, let us know if you've ever checked your credit history report.
And we'll see you in the next video.